Hei og velkommen til å følge oss i Åpne Dører en liten halvtime. I dag har vi en helt spesiell gjest i studio. Han har vært salafist, og hvis ikke du vet hva det er, så får du svar på det i løpet av programmet. I dag så er han en etterfølger av Jesus. Thomas Samuel.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you here.
It's my honor, and I'm very happy to be with you here in Norway.
In Norway. You don't live in Norway, you come from Egypt,
Yes.
but you live in another country at the moment.
Yes, that's right.
That's right. You used to be a Salafist, and now you are working in the Salvation Army,
Yes.
which is quite different.
Yes.
I think you should explain what a Salafist is.
That's a very good question, and first of all, thank you for having me here. It's a great pleasure to be on your studio. And for me, a Salafi is not only for me, actually, Salafi is defined as the follower of Quran, the words that has been revealed from God as words God, to Muhammad, the Prophet of Islam, and follower of the Sunnah. Sunnah is Muhammad's words and actions. By the perspective, by the glasses of the companions of Muhammad. What does that mean? It means that you don't have to think of things. You don't have to make up your mind. You have to see it through the glasses and the eyes of the companions of Muhammad. How they understood it, how they got it. And you act upon that, and you live it like that. So that's a Salafi person, and I grow up in a Salafi family where we all believe that it's Quran and Sunnah with the companions, with the eyeglasses of the companions of Muhammad.
Yeah, tell us a little about how you grew up. How was it in your family, your mother, your father? Did you have a lot of brothers and sisters? What was the climate?
I grew up alone in the beginning. I mean, it took me 11 years to have brothers, so there is a huge gap between my brothers and I. One is 11 years old younger, and the other is 13 years old younger. I had a sister in between, but she didn't live, so she passed away when she was a baby. And I grew up with a mom and dad and family who believe that it's all about God. There is nothing else. God is in the center. Islam is in the center. And they believed in Khilafah even. Khilafah is that Muslims should take over, that there is Islamic Ummah nation. And through this Islamic Ummah, or nation, we can live a safe, peaceful life. And accordingly, my mom, when I was young, she used to look at me after she finished her prayers, and she looked like talking to God, and she said to me, "May I see you, a leader coming back with victory to Islam, or a dead body coming as a martyr for God?" So I grow up with this idea. I grow up with this mentality, thinking that the highest thing that you can achieve in life is to die for God. Because he needs someone to die for him.
But what did you feel as a little boy when your mother said that she wanted you to come back as a dead body?
I felt proud. I know this sounds strange for Europeans, but for us this was the highest goal, to die. We came from the culture of death. Death is the highest. To die for the group, to die for your family, to die for God is the highest. So for me, this was kind of achieving the highest possible goal. So for me, I was so happy to die for God.
So you already as a little boy starting to prepare yourself to walk that walk?
Yeah, I can say that everything in my mind, my way of thinking was like that. I started to have this worldview. We call it worldview. The way you process things in your mind is like that. So I wanted to to do that, and I grow up memorizing the Quran, memorizing the Sunnah, definitely not all of the Sunnah, but most of it. And I started to learn how to lead the prayer in the mosque since I was young, and I started to do that since I was 13 years old, maybe.
Did you like it?
Yeah, because when you live that life, you feel like you are special, and they say that I had beautiful voice, so I was singing the Quran in this Islamic melody, and this was very special for people. And people used to come to stand behind me in prayer just to listen to my voice and how I narrate the Quran. So this was very special for me. Yeah, I felt special.
And you prepared. How did you look on the future? When you were 13, you were doing something in the mosque. You were singing, leading. What was the next steps?
Yes, for me to be a leader of prayer, this was a very high thing. This was a very important thing, and I wanted to be specialized in fiqh, Islamic jurisprudence. So I wanted to be specialized in Islamic law, and
Sharia law?
Sharia law, and that's why I studied law, and that's why I was with my main mentor was specialized in law, and I wanted to teach. But before teaching, I wanted to die for God. And also it has to do with very important thing, Linda. That they used to give us a lot of, we used to listen to Islamic songs. We call it anashid. The Islamic song, anashid is songs without music, just with vocals. And 99 of the songs just speak about jihad. Just speak about how Muslims are persecuted, how we used to have more than 14 countries under direct persecution now, on that time, and how we need to take back the lands that the Europeans and the Americans took from us. So you grow up with the idea that you want to be a warrior. You want to get back the stolen land. And that's why when it was 2003 and the attack on Iraq happened, Americans invaded Iraq, I was fed up. I said, that's enough,
Fed up with the Americans and the Europeans?
Yes, with the Americans and Europeans, with Christians and Jews, because for me they are Christians and Jews. And I was fed up with Christians and Jews. It's enough for me that you are taking our land. You took Palestine and you took other countries, and now you are taking Iraq. Iraq for us is also an important country. It was the capital of Khilafah for a long time. So you are taking Iraq too. I don't want that. I want to go to jihad. And I talked to one of our friends who are responsible for taking jihadi people in our area. And I remember his look. He looked at me and he said, at last, I was waiting for that moment that you come and say, I want to go to jihad.
Yeah.
And I prepared everything and I was ready to go. And I was just waiting for a phone call.
So then you were ready to go as a kind of a soldier?
Yes.
Yeah.
A jihadi.
Jihadi.
And this phone call, when it came, I was so happy. I received the phone call. But the strange thing that this phone call was carrying the worst news I have ever heard up till that moment. That you will not go, the operation has been cancelled, we cannot help you to go now. And he closed the phone. For me, this was a disaster. I cried and I felt lost because I planned that I will die for God. So don't tell me that I will not. I mean, this was the plan. We agreed on that. And my big question was, why not me? Because God in Islam called his martyrs, the people who will die for him, by name. And my question was, why you didn't call my name? After all what I have been doing, I didn't get the chance and the opportunity to die for God and get escape from hell. Hell in Islam is very scary, Linda. It is very scary.
That is very real for you.
This
As-
was very real, and I was so afraid of it because I don't want to be burning in hell, and the only exception is to die for God, to not to pass on the judgment, to pass easily on the judgment day. This was your opportunity. So I was frustrated. I went into deep depression. I avoided groups. I started even to try to pray at home, not to be among others. I was sad. I was very sad. Until one of my leaders started to miss me or feel like, where is the guy? So he contacted me and he met me, asked to meet me. And he asked me, why you are sad? I told him, because I didn't die for God. And he said a prophecy like Balaam, I think. For me today, it's like Balaam in the Bible.
Yeah.
He said, maybe he wanted you to live for him, not to die for him. I said, what do you mean? He said, I was not with the idea that you go to jihad. I didn't support it. But I think you are a guy who can speak. And when you speak, many will die. When you speak, many will come to our group. And when many will be part of Salafism. Just speak out. I told him I want to do that. He said, no, we will train you to reach out in a very professional way. We will train you to be one of the best reaching out people.
That was a totally opposite perspective then.
Yes.
To die for God and to live for God.
Yes, it was a new perspective, and also it was linked to that I will bring people who will die for God. So for me, this was encouraging, So, because this is very essential in Islam to do something, to be someone who's doing something for his faith.
And you did bring people.
A lot.
You had your own TV program?
Yes. I had a TV program about linking human development with Islam, and how Islam is very developed religion that knows everything and how humans should be living. And it was full of logic fallacies, actually, but I didn't know that at that time. And what happened after that I started to bring many people to Salafism. I was focused on Muslims, to make Muslims strict Muslims, radical Muslims.
Yeah, because you have moderate Muslims.
Yes.
And how did you look at them at that time?
For me, they are kind of sinners who live in sin, and some of them who could be even infidels, don't believe at all, because there are some things that Muslims should be doing to be a believer, like praying, for example. If you don't believe in praying or you don't pray, this makes you a sinner or an infidel, depend on how you look at it. So I believed that it's my task to radicalize society. And this is what I was so successful to do. The problem that after a while of doing that, I was not satisfied.
But just a moment, you did also convert Christians.
This is the moment where I was not satisfied.
Okay.
Exactly, because I was not satisfied with only helping Muslims, and I felt like I want to do more, I have the energy to do more. And here I started to focus on Christians. And I wanted to bring Christians in one-on-one, like to bring Christians to Islam directly. So I worked and I did I met 3 Christians and brought 3 Christians to Islam. And this was for me kind of a real victory. They were nominal Christians, but I didn't know that at that time. For me, Christians are Christians. So I brought 3 Christians, and I felt like if I did that, it's time to bring the Pope of Egypt. And I believe that I can do that. Yeah. I can bring the Pope. Yeah. But I said to myself, I need to study some Christianity, to be more professional, to reach out to Christians. And this was my first proc. This was my first problem. I decided to go to Muslim polemists. You know, polemist who is the one who is responsible for attacking faith of others or criticizing others' faith.
With words.
With words, yeah, with theology. And I believe that they have a lot of Muslim polemists in Egypt, and I went to one of them, and this was my first shock, because I saw a person who speaks 80% about Christians, 20% about Christianity. 80% he speaks about, look how they look what they do, look what this man said, look what this newspaper are saying. It's all about people. It was not in the meat, in the real meat, you know, as we say in English. It's not in the real body of Christianity. There were 20%, I don't deny that, but this 20%, in my opinion, was so unacademical. So unacademical. It was full of what we can say, it's full of fallacies or
Meanings.
yeah, and full of cutting words from its verses. Like, for example, when I tell you how Jesus say that believe in me and believe in the Father and Jesus Christ who have the Father sent. This means that, look, Jesus is just sent by the Father. He's just a prophet. And for me, this was like too obvious to be true. For sure, Christians has an answer on that. I mean, it's too obvious to be true. Very clear verse in the Bible, and definitely Christians have their opinion on this verse. Tell me these opinions. Oh, they don't have any answer. I don't think so. And for me, I went to him and I asked him about one question. Why we have very intellectual Christians around us in the society. And these Christians are still believers. I mean, if Islam is so intellectual like that, why these Christians don't become believers? And I still remember his answer. His answer was, let me ask you a question, my son. Who are the most intelligent, intellectual people on earth? I told him, I don't know. Like, who are? He said, Japanese. I said, okay, let's assume that this is true. He said, Japanese people are the most intellectual because they are into technology and science. And at the end, they bow down before a statue. So it's not by intellect, it's not by intelligence, it's by faith. I know that many people would like such an answer, but not for me. For me, this was like, what? No. There is better reasoning, I believe. So I said, okay, but I didn't buy it, actually. And
You wanted to know the real
reason, because
reason.
don't tell me all these verses are there and they are still stupid people don't believe. You know, I knew some Christians they were not my friends, but they were really intellectual. And they're very intelligent. So how they read their Bible? So I wanted to study that more. I tried to ask some Christians around me. They were so afraid to talk to me. Christians are so scared from Muslims, especially Salafi Muslims. They feel like, oh, this guy want to bring us to something.
Do you understand now that the Christians are scared, or do you think they don't need to be?
That's a very good question. Now I believe both. I understand the reason for being scared, but I don't agree on it. I don't agree that we should be scared. Because the more you are scared, the more it increases. I mean, we are the church of martyrs also. I mean, we pay a price, and this price is to reveal Jesus Christ. And this could lead to problems. I cannot tell you that you will avoid all the problems in your life. I cannot tell you that. So you will meet some problems, and you will pay some price. But
Like what you have done. I think for the sake of time,
yeah,
you had this journey. You started to find out what Christianity really was about. And what happened?
what happened that I actually found a website talks about Christianity, And this website was an amazing website. And it destroyed a lot of things, my foundations. It has shaken me, you know. And I started to feel like how their Bible is so connected like that. The Bible is really connected. You can see God behind the line in everything. There is a line of salvation. The second thing, they were giving some hints about Islam that I had never thought of, which was, for example, details. How the Bible is so detailed and the Quran is not. The Quran is just bits and pieces from everything. So I started to be shaken in my faith, and this turned me to say that if there is no God, then if there is the God of Islam is not right, then there is no God. And I became an atheist. I spent some time as an atheist, few months as an atheist, did everything wrong, you can imagine. Like, you know, I was suppressed with my needs, and suddenly now there is no God. And I was so hypocrite, so I was in the morning leading the prayer, in the evening I am doing whatever I want. And then I didn't bear to be an atheist for a long time. So I became an agnostic. I started to hide behind agnosticism to say, I don't know. You know, the answer is I don't know. Then I became, after a while, a deist, and I started to say, no, there is a God, but there is no religion. I think he abandoned us. I think we are evil, so he left us. Until I get frustrated of life and really tired of everything. And I decided to take my own life. I took a lot of pills to die. And I was so tired. But suddenly, the pills that I took was so painful. Because it narrowed the blood vessels. So it was so painful. I prayed to God for the first time after a long time. And I told him, please, if you are really there, get me out of that. And I will search for you. I slept and I woke up like nothing has happened. Like I have taken nothing. And I was feeling so much the urge to search for God. Like this is a message from God, search for me. So I came in the evening and I said to God, you know what, you are so big for me to find you. But I'm so small for you to find me. So please, if you want me, do something. And I went to my dreams and to my sleep, and I saw in my dream that I'm running in a very long road, a lot of tree branches full of thorns chasing me, want to kill me. At the end of the door there is a man standing, and he looking at me, and I said, help, do something. He stretched his hand, put it on my shoulder, brought me in front of him, and I found out that he is Jesus Christ.
Did you kind of recognize him?
Yes, in the dream.
Yeah.
And he looked deep in my eyes and he said, it is your time to follow me. I woke up and I said, oh my God, this is hallucination. You know what? I'm hallucinating. I read this stuff and I started to hallucinate. So in the next day, I got the same dream with the same details. So I woke up and I started to challenge God. I told him, you know what? This is not a joke. If you are really God, come to me one more time with the same details. Otherwise, I will not think of you again. And imagine what? He come. He has come. And he told me this time, didn't I tell you it's your time to follow me? These words, didn't I tell you, was my proof that God can listen. You know, God can listen. And this made me feel how loving he is, how different he is, how unique he is. I fall in love with this man. I fall in love with Jesus Christ. His words was like a sword entering to my heart. I decided to search about who is Jesus Christ on that day, because I didn't know except the Islamic version of Jesus Christ. So I decided that I will search who is Jesus Christ, and I have to know.
And that God you met through Jesus was very different from the God you knew as a Salafist.
100%. 100%, because the God I knew as a Salafi is a God who, if I challenged him, he would say, just go to hell. You know?
Yeah.
He doesn't care. You challenge me, you are nothing. I'm everything. Go to hell.
And there comes Jesus with a love for you.
With love that is, it is unexpected, understandable. It's very deep love, that as if he knows you, as if he knows you inside out, and he set you free. And that led me to search who is Jesus Christ.
Thank you so much, Thomas, for sharing with us.
Thank you.
Til deg som ser på, fantastisk å se hva Jesu kjærlighet, Guds kjærlighet gjennom Jesus, kan gjøre. Og denne historien slutter ikke her. Følg med neste uke, så skal du få møte Thomas igjen, der historien fortsetter. Gud velsigne deg.